Coming up on American Black Journal, it's almost time for one of Detroit's most popular annual events, the Detroit Jazz Festival. We're going to hear about this year's star-studded lineup, which includes a trio of NEA jazz masters from right here in Detroit. Plus, we'll have the first look at the official 2023 Jazz Festival poster. And we're going to end with a performance by this year's artist in residence, Karriem Riggins. Don't go anywhere. American Black Journal is going to start right now.
From Delta Faucets to Behr Paint, Masco Corporation is proud to deliver products that enhance the way consumers all over the world experience and enjoy their living spaces. Masco, serving Michigan communities since 1929. Support also provided by the Cynthia and Edsel Ford Fund for Journalism at Detroit Public TV.
The DTE Foundation proudly supports 50 years of American Black Journal in covering African American history, culture, and politics. The DTE Foundation and American Black Journal partners in presenting African American perspectives about our communities and in our world.
Also brought to you by Nissan Foundation and viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm your host, Stephen Henderson. Labor Day is around the corner, and that means one thing. The world's largest free jazz festival is soon going to bring thousands of music lovers to downtown Detroit. Some of the best jazz artists from around the globe are going to appear on the Detroit Jazz Festival stages, including the 2023 NEA Jazz Masters, who are from Detroit. Violinist Regina Carter, drummer Lewis Hayes, and saxophonist Kenny Garrett. This year's artist in residence is also a homegrown talent, drummer and producer Karriem Riggins. I sat down with the president of the Detroit Jazz Festival Foundation, Chris Collins, and this year's official poster artist, Brittini Ward, to talk about this year's event. So Chris, I say this every year, but I really do mean it. I look forward to this show more than any other show we do on American Black Journal because it means that the festival is just around the corner. And, you know, now that we're back to life as it kind of was before the pandemic, or at least a close simulation of that, you know, the festival is as big as it ever was. It is in person. It is this incredible institution and marker in Detroit. The hair stands up on the back of my neck when I think about Jazz Fest every year.
Oh, thanks, Stephen. You know, 44th year this year. What an amazing tradition of the city, and a tradition that's so connected. The art is so connected to our citizenry and reflects in the visual arts and the narrative arts and everything else. It really speaks to us all, and it's a joyous time. It's a time to celebrate and to come together and meet new people and hear some music from some of the most significant creative artists in the field right now. So I'm equally thrilled, and thank you for your ongoing support and enthusiasm.
Yeah. So we are going to continue our tradition here of unveiling the Jazz Fest poster here on American Black Journal. But before we get to that, I just want to have you talk just a little about the rest of this year and the festival. What's going on, the people that we have coming, the people who we are featuring who are already part of Detroit and the Detroit music scene. But let's start with Karriem Riggins, this year's artist in residence.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. Karriem Riggins, we've talked for a number of years about this, and of course he's been involved along the way in a number of our year-round educational and outreach programs throughout the years, and no doubt this year he was as well. And like so many things, you'll see the culmination of his work at the Detroit Jazz Festival, like so many other year-round Detroit Jazz Fest Foundation projects. So, he brings something new, as you'll see through the entire festival lineup. We're always looking for artists that are bringing something new to the genre and the art and the the dimensions of evolution that the art is going through. And Karriem brings something special. This highly respected drummer in the jazz world by all accounts. And then he has this whole other life in the hip hop and electronic music scene. He has a new label that's under his name coming out, and it represents someone who can truly bring together artistically these two worlds in a way no one's been quite able to do before. And he'll be doing that over 3 different performances throughout the festival. It's going to hold the trajectory, and I'm sure cause a lot of talk.
Yeah. Brittini Ward, I want to bring you into the conversation now, and that's because we want to talk about this year's Jazz Fest poster, and you are the poster artist for that. It really is a stunning work of art, but it also, each year I say this as well, it really does capture the sense of who we are as Detroiters and the fact that this is the Detroit Jazz Festival. But Brittini, talk about how you came up with the imagery and the idea that you have in this year's poster.
Yeah, thank you for that, and so grateful to be here. I created the poster to give reverence to my granddad and my father, who were the introducers of jazz in my own life. I remember, just traveling in the back seat, then the front seat with my dad, listening to all types of jazz, him making up stories to the Pat Metheny's, like, music, like this little boy traveling, like telling stories to jazz. My granddad and his da 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 da, like going downtown. Going down south for family reunions. So anyway, all of that was in my brain plus more as I'm creating this poster because my dad, he recently transitioned, and so did my granddad, and I wanted to give reverence to them. Just to find another way to channel my own grief into a work of art.
Yeah. So there are 2 figures in the poster this year. That also makes me feel right at home. I'm like, they look like Detroiters. Who are you drawing on for those figures? Is that also a reflection of the people who introduced you to jazz, your family?
Yeah. So I would say on the left, that represents me, woman. And then on the right, there's a male that represents both my dad and my granddad. My granddad always wore those hats, like, the hats. It's not my dad's barbecuing hat. I don't know. You see, there's no one else in the same, like, physical structure on there, because that was just like this bringing together of me and my father, me and my granddad, this intimacy between both of us, articulated through the poster.
Yeah. It's really interesting to hear you talk about the poster and the inspiration for it. I think for so many of us in Detroit, that is how we came to love the music. Same story for me. My dad listened to jazz all day, every day, on the radio and on the record player. And there was no other music in his house. And so that's how I came to be the fan that I am of jazz as well. WJZZ, of course, played a huge role in all that. That's maybe a little older than what you would remember, Brittini, but
I heard about it on a tour.
There you go.
Yeah.
So Chris, again, a big hit, another year with the poster. Talk about how important that poster is to the legacy festival.
I was immediately touched. We had an open call for artists, as we've done in the past, and I was immediately touched by the emotion and sentimentality that was represented, and these 2 figures that are alone, but at a major jazz festival, hundreds of thousands of people, and yet their sphere of existence is quite intimate between the 2 of them. And it speaks to something artists and patrons go through in jazz, which is this passing on of the language and the stories and the history of this music. And Brittini captured that so beautifully in such a personal way, and yet in a way, as you said, that touches all of us. It was my father and his old record collection and talking about, Art Blakey and Coleman Hawkins that got me hooked. And before I knew it, I was begging to buy a saxophone and try to copy those records, And you'll get a sense of that throughout the festival as a patron and the artists on the stage. We talked about Karriem, but the mix of artists this year, Samara Joy, NEA Jazz Masters Series. 3 of the 4 NEA Jazz Masters this year are from Detroit. Kenny Garrett and Louis Hayes, and they'll all be with us at the festival with the John Schofield, Dee Dee Bridgewater, Jason Moran, Daniela Perez. It goes on and on. We have some wonderful women leaders, Miho Hazama, Melissa Aldana, Alexa Tarantino, Linda Mao. These are up and coming, important musicians in the jazz world. And then we have all our Detroiters, that it lives in the world that Brittini lives in, where it's about a family experience, a community experience. Our trip to Gretchen Valade on opening night, one of the most important figures, a great angel of jazz here that'll feature a bunch of Detroiters and national artists all together to pay tribute to her. And then also we have the Detroit Piano Legacy Tribute, with the passing of Barry 2 years ago. It was quite emotional for all of us, but we wanted to prepare, do something special. So throughout the festival, you'll see performances by current Detroit pianists celebrating the continuation of that legacy, along with artists that knew and others in a very particular way. So a lot of Detroit presence, right up to our artist in residence, who's a Detroit native, and of course, Brittini, who has captured so beautifully the message of jazz, the message of Detroit, and the message of the Detroit Jazz Festival.
Yeah.
By the way, presented this year by the Dirty Dog Jazz Cafe, another one of
right. Yeah.
Gretchen's inventions, and what a coming together of a beautiful family of companies. So we're very happy to have them on board.
So Chris, talk just a little about the state of the festival, and again, now we are back to full on in person. That's really important. But also put that in the context of some of the other things that are going on around the city with jazz, including the opening soon of the Valade Center, right, at Wayne State. And I've watched them build that building, and the whole time I'm like, I am going to go there so much. I cannot wait for that to be done.
The Gretchen Valade Jazz Center. Yeah, it's under deep renovation now, and we hope to have an opening in late spring, early summer, but it is a celebration of all things Gretchen, of excellence. The main hall is specifically acoustically designed in every way for jazz, which is unusual. 350 seats. It'll be that place we all need across the globe. And the downstairs is going to be a jazz club scene, and it's about 120 seats, super intimate. And so there's going to be a lot going. You take that in collaboration with our great jazz clubs that keep jazz alive, all year round. In fact, we have our jam sessions Friday and Saturday night this year during the festival at Cliff Bell's, because we want to support our clubs. We want to get people out on the town. And then we also have, a lot of young people who, for the first generation, they're telling me they're not leaving town when they get to their professional. They are going to stay in Detroit because there's so much opportunity here. And you mix that all with Jazz Festival Foundation and the festival itself. We keep that level of excellence and perfection alive. If we can't do it right, we do not do it. This is an art form, and it should be heard and seen as that. That's why we all, again, on YouTube and Facebook and whatnot, and also the raw live streams where you can pick any stage you want at DetroitJazzFest.org. And that's free, and that attracts about 2 million people, along with the 325,000 at the festival. The challenge, of course, is economic. It is a business, and as we all know, costs have tripled in many production areas. And we pay the artists competitive with every festival, and we employ hundreds and hundreds of stagehand workers and so on. And that be honest, that becomes a struggle as our sponsors and independent donors and everyone who donates $5 understands, but it makes a difference. And we found at our audit this year, by the way, 87 cents of every dollar goes directly to programming.
Wow.
That's a big number because it says how committed we are to the real thing. So we're not wasting money, but boy, economy and business scale and our insistence to take care of everyone well is a challenge. So we work through that every year, and we look to our wonderful family of donors and sponsors and grantors to to satisfy the income need to produce it.
Yeah, yeah. Brittini, I want to bring you back into the conversation. Have you talked just a little about other kinds of inspirations you find in your work? What made you want to be an artist, and maybe the influence of music over the art, right? I mean, we talk about these things as though they're separate, music and art, but really they're all part of that same continuum, I think, of creativity and ideas. Where do you find that? Where do you find that spark?
Yeah, so if I can bring my dad back into the conversation, honestly, all of his gifts I have, like the singing, the dancing, the drawing, all of the rapping, like so much, a lot of my work is spiritual, honestly. And so you'll see that in the poster as well, these figures that are just outlines in white, and also the colors of the black and then the blue grass. You'll see it's like just interweaving through these dimensions of spirituality, the here in the present, time, just everything that music is as well. It's intergenerational, it's transitional, it's multidimensional, it just touches you, mind, body, and soul. So, yeah, a lot of my artwork revolves around spirituality. It has, of course, like grown over the years. I started with spoken word. That was my first, I guess, medium of art, just to release as a child, just writing, telling stories about my brother's junkie room. I don't know, just things. And then it became more intentional. And yeah, now I'm really in the business around Detroit to just allow others to tap into their own throat chakras, their own forms of release. Curating spaces for release is what I do in the city as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I am sure the pride that you'll have knowing that this poster, you created this part of this incredible Detroit institution that'll carry you for a long time. And of course, we can see, I imagine, we're seeing some of your work behind you as well.
Oh, yes. There's so much going on. I honestly have not shown my paintings or artwork to the world, really. Like, I haven't really.
Yeah.
I'm going to start. I just don't want to let them go, but.
Yes, start.
It's becoming a lot. Like, they're everywhere. This is just a couple. Like, it's on the wall. You see, it's like stacks of them over here. Like, okay, let them go, or show them. So, yes, this is definitely my artwork.
You're gonna start in just a few minutes, let me tell you.
Okay.
That's right. Okay, well, Chris Collins and Brittini Ward, great to have you here on American Black Journal. And Chris, again, congratulations on keeping this sturdy institution going here in the city. And I will see you downtown for sure.
Okay. Thank you, Stephen and Brittini. Thank you for everything. You're a jewel.
Thank you. Thank you both.
We're going to leave you now with a performance by the Detroit Jazz Festival's artist in residence, Karriem Riggins. You can find out more about the Jazz Festival and today's guests at AmericanBlackJournal.org. And you can connect with us anytime on Facebook and on Twitter. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
From Delta faucets to Behr paint, Masco Corporation is proud to deliver products that enhance the way consumers all over the world experience and enjoy their living spaces. Masco, serving Michigan communities since 1929. Support also provided by the Cynthia and Edsel Ford Fund for Journalism at Detroit Public TV.
The DTE Foundation proudly supports 50 years of American Black Journal in covering African American history, culture, and politics. The DTE Foundation and American Black Journal partners in presenting African American perspectives about our communities and in our world.
Also brought to you by Nissan Foundation and viewers like you. Thank you.